Going live now. There we go. There's the right amount of volume. I wonder what's wrong with my volume. Hello. Asshole Consulting. We're going to curse and swear about this because we're talking about adult stuff while Google and YouTube will only approve of things that are rated G. Not even PG, because we might have said elbow or sexy ankle. So we have a request. Where'd it go? Another short question. How about men purpose? This is from Bai. A captain responds to the great Rollo Tomimisi. I don't know. Returning customer, name your price, military discount. We'll link Rollo video and the time to do a Rollo response from 2 hours, 28 minutes to 2 hours, 31 minutes. I have linked to that down below in the comments section. So you guys can watch it. At first I thought he wanted me to watch a 2-hour video. I'm like, it's going to be $300. And he's like, oh, no, just these couple of minutes. So watched it there. Let me get back to that. Video request. Can you please respond to Rollo's view on men's purpose to reproduce compared to your point of view on poor men out of poverty, vasectomy path, not having kids you cannot afford, live as a minimalist men purpose, affordable hooker, third world country making the dollar last long time. For only $40 in the Philippines, you can have a girl all day. And that's the gringo price. And so here's the video, why men need sex. Link down below as well. All right, so I took some notes. I watched it. And, of course, you guys all know that me and Rollo are friends. Even though Rollo stabbed me in the back twice, it stood me up. Never met the man. Don't even know if he exists. He could just be a very highly realistic video rendered graphic. You never know. So I'll give you a synopsis of what Rollo's video was. Rollo was basically making the statement that the only real point of humans is to procreate and have a family. A point of a man as well. He's focusing on the men as always. But that's the point of a man, is that you should have a family, and not only, just to send out your genes, but you should have a loving family. That yes, it's to go ahead and pass on genetics and pass on a lineage and all that from if not the most powerful biological Darwinistic force ever, but to give your life purpose and meaning is that you'd want a loving family. And so among other things, I didn't listen to the whole 2.5 hour video, but that's one of the main reasons men have sex, not just because it's pleasurable, but because, well, what else is there? And really, and here's the thing, he's right. Not only is it the only real point and purpose of life, I've always said that the number one thing in life is humans, and the number one human is going to be your spouse and would be theoretical children. But it's also the genetic reason because you're going to die. And it's really kind of a sad, boring game where it's like all it is to procreate. That's like the number one thing. And that in the end, then you're dead. Now, I've added to that, not to say Rollo disagrees or hasn't had these thoughts added to it in the past, because he is an author, but you're also going to leave a legacy. What do you leave for the rest of society? But for your rank and file person, you're really just, what was it, my buddy Tony? All you do is just shit, eat, and sleep. That's it. Maybe you have kids. And that's kind of the long term, if it's going to go beyond your life, is did you leave any genetic progeny? And then you can talk about, well, your genetics exist because billions of years of competition, and the single-celled amoeba made it with that other single-celled amoeba, and then it became a multicellular amoeba. Then there was squids or jellyfish, and then fish, and then alligators, and now it's us. And going back billions of years, if that amoeba didn't find that amoeba, you wouldn't be here. And it's true. I guess it's true. I'm not disagreeing with it, but when it comes to having children, yes, for all of us, that is kind of about the only thing there is in life. And I'm not disagreeing with it. But for certain individuals, there's a damn good reason not to. And there's, you could have a genetic deficiency. Okay. And I'm not talking you're actually like maybe mentally retarded, or you have, cerebral palsy or something like that. I don't even know if that is guaranteed that your kid would have that. I think Down syndrome, you are guaranteed to pass that on. I'm not a geneticist. I don't know. But I'm also talking about things like a proclivity to cancer, where you're some of these diseases of the many, you die when you're 30, heart disease, stuff like that. So there's some good reasons why individuals shouldn't breed. Another one, this is probably more common today than in the past, is you come from a dysfunctional family. You don't like a disease, like a genetic disorder. You may not realize you have it. You may not realize you're passing it on until it's too late. And I think a lot of people that come from dysfunctional homes probably shouldn't breed. And I know this is going to sound like a stretch. It's going to sound like a big reach. But if your parents got divorced and you were brought up in a broken home, I don't think you should be breeding either. Because even though you may have come out of it from the depths of hell, you could have come from a terribly broken family, the depths of poverty. For example, Ed Lattimore has suffered more than I have. There's no doubt about it. But there's some lingering. That's the world. Like when your parents can't keep it together, that's the genetic nature world saying, hey, hang on there now. Hang on. Your parents were alcoholics? Was your mom a drug addict? Was she on the antidepressants? Was your dad drinking a lot? Oh, and all your uncles and aunts drank too. Well, did your grandpa and your grandma go to an insane asylum? It's like, yeah, okay. From a raw, stupid point of view, I just want to get my genes. I just want to replicate myself. And a lot of dumb people breed. A lot of mentally dysfunctional people breed. Okay, so you're successful in that way, but all you did was pass on the disease of mental illness, family strife, whatever. And surprise, surprise, did you know that if your mother was a teenage mother, married, not even married, just a teenage mom, there's a pretty good chance you might be too? Did you know that if your parents got divorced, you are at a higher risk category for also getting divorced? And if you were stupid enough to bring children into the world, they're going to suffer just like you did? And so whether it's broken homes, mental illness, addiction, divorce, whatever, the individual should really, and I've made this point before, I care about my children, my theoretical children I'll never have, more than the average person cares about their own children. Because I actually sit and think about what kind of environment, what kind of life would I bring them up into? And gosh, I'll bring it up again. One of the most crippling chapters in this book is when I had to go and research and look at actions of parents. Most parents don't love their kids today. Have you all get divorced? 80, 70% initiated by women who just can't love the children enough. and it's kind of like, no, most people should not be having kids. Now, maybe back in the olden days where we didn't have a massive welfare state and the dysfunctional parasitic people could just breed all day and watch their Ellen DeGeneres show or The View or whatever, MTV. All right, when resources, okay, maybe there was a meritocracy, there was merit involved in like who bred and who didn't, but it was a death sentence if you had kids that you couldn't afford. Now with the state, the environment is not the same. So yes, on a genetic, philosophical purpose of life, meaning the point and purpose is to go and have a family. But that presupposed that the family was self-supporting, the father was in charge, you loved your children, you stayed together for your children, you invested in your generation. With a welfare state supplanting the role of men, it's not, well, it wasn't never that big of a thing to breed anyway. Everyone's been doing it since billions of years ago. But now it's what's the word I'm looking at? An independent third variable. That does not make this an apples to apples comparison. It's now apples to oranges. It's like, well, yeah, anyone can breed with the government paying for it. And most of the women and the men who are on welfare and have children and they rely on the government and WIC and EBT and TANF and all that, those people should not be having children. And not just because down the road, that genetic blah, 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 they're not capable of supporting themselves, but they are abusing their children. They are. You're abusing your child where it's a single family home and you got 3 different baby daddies and 3 different baby mamas. And here's an idea. Here's a hint. Here's a clue, guys. If you have half siblings, you shouldn't breed. Just saying. If you have half siblings, you shouldn't breed. Again, I made a big reach saying if your parents are divorced, you shouldn't breed. If your parents are never married, you shouldn't breed. I mean, it's got to end somewhere because nothing good comes from broken families. So again, this doesn't disqualify Rollo's argument that, yeah, of course, philosophically, genetically, we should have kids. I'm saying with the government supplanting the role of men and basically paying anybody, any idiot to go and breed, so they don't have to actually raise their own kids. They don't have a vested interest in their own progeny. You're going to raise a generation of basically dysfunctional adults who are going to continue to breed. And then when the welfare state runs out or collapses, well, I mean, how many of those people are actually able to take care of themselves? How many of those have the family relation? How many of those have that bonding with the family, even know of the most important tribe, the family? Versus how many of them just know how to live off of other people and that's it? There's going to be a lot of death, a lot of starvation, but that's all the way with communism. It always happens that way. So I would say very modern, very recent socio-political, economic innovations, phenomena, namely a welfare state, has kind of thrown that traditional argument up on its head. So if you come from a broken home, a single family, a single mother home, single father home, you have half siblings, even divorce, which, again, it shows it's not necessarily just the welfare state, but, well, you could say that's another third independent variable, feminism. Don't need no man, fish, bicycle. Children can be raised in a test tube, and all they need is women are better parent. Okay, the same argument. Larger point with the nuclear family being destroyed and either replaced by feminism or the government, two very recent modern innovations in the grand scheme of human evolution and human history. That we need to put a big asterisk on breeding. Say, hey, except for these conditions, which far as I can tell is about half. What is it? 40% of kids are born out of wedlock. And then how many of the kids are born into wedlock, but then their parents get divorced? How many people are on mental illness drugs? I mean, I could almost make the argument in the case that 80% of the people should not be breeding right now because of these very recent, not evolutions, very recent innovation. I hate to call it an innovation because it sounds like it's intelligent or benefit, because of the welfare state and feminism. It's like, yeah, everything except now, because things are definitely different. I would also make the argument that in some instances, you shouldn't breed. Historically, economically, political conditions are not for it. For example, right here, I don't want to breed because, well, I've many, many reasons, but there wasn't great economic opportunity. So much money goes to the state and absolutely no support goes to the man or the individual or the patriarch or the father, that for a guy, and it's even more so now for millennials and Gen Zers, how much debt do you boys have to take on? Women too. How much emphasis and focus was put on the family? Or how many people are saying, oh, because of your, whatever, skin type, race, gender, because of trait X, you don't get support. And matter of fact, you got to pay other people because of evils and things and institutionalism and all that other stuff. And oh, by the way, right now at the age of 22, when now's the time that you might want to think about having family, here's $150,000 worth of debt for a worthless degree. Oh, and you're going to get paid $10 an hour. Of which you only get to keep 5 because the state of California and the federal government and the San Francisco taxes have to take half to go pay for heroin programs and people shitting on the streets programs. There's no way. I mean, it's just the political and economic and sociological conditions are just not conducive to breeding. I mean, 1937 Germany. Do you think the Jews should have bred children in there? Huh? I'm trying to think of the Armenian genocide. When a group of people are being targeted as the scapegoat, do you really think it's Rome? 445 AD, you think you want to bring a bunch of 8 little kids into your little Roman family there? Probably a bad idea. So again, none of this changes the overall point. Speaking from 2 million years of human evolution, 2 billion years of organism evolution. Yeah, that's the only game in town. But whoa, hang on now, hold it. Humans have sentient independent thought in theory. Okay, some of us do. Read the book Curse of the High IQ, all 2% of us. You can make a choice. You can say, wait, hold it. Hang on. Whoa. Millennials, tell me if you're on the same page here. My parents got divorced. We didn't have money. And we were forced to go to school. And now you got a worthless degree. And we're up shit creek. Maybe instead of bringing children to the world that I can't support because even I can't support myself, maybe I'll just not have kids, get a vasectomy, and make the choice, albeit it's against every genetic biological programming I have. But you know what is a very important biological drive? It really rivals having kids? It's called eating. It's called hunger. It's called starvation. It's called security and stability. There's a lot of people where their childhood was not all that great, but they were smart enough to say, hang on, I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but let's assess and analyze and deduce a couple important things. Step 1, don't have more kids than you could afford. Got it. I see. The concept of per capita income was very seared into my brain at about the age of 4 when I realized, hey, wait a minute. This other thing, my brother, he gets to share now. What's this sharing stuff? And if he wasn't around, I could get a lot more toys. I could get some ice cream. I want to get hand-me-downs from 1974 that now I get in a fight with in the 1st and 2nd grade because I'm wearing brown plaid. And but you see, we saved 40 cents of clothes that way. So yeah, if you can't, depending on where you are on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the worst thing you can do, look, if you should not have been brought into this world, but your parents had you because they needed a government check, because they wanted to have the feels, because they wanted to get back at the sperm donor, because the man wanted to have progeny, but wouldn't invest a bleeping dick of time into raising you as a kid. Unfortunately, you're here. But you don't have to continue on this really shitty, painful, near if not total child abuse legacy. I've had several clients where their mother, the 2 different guys, one guy wanted to go in the military, one guy wanted to go to college, and both their mothers, 2 separate individuals, not the same family. Both their mothers threatened to disown them because they would not get the Section 8 housing allowance with one less person in the household. If your parents are like that, by the way, if your dad's not around, another reason you may not want to breed, you don't know who your dad is, or your mother affectionately refers to him as the sperm donor, 10 signs you may not want to breed. Okay? Just hear me out. If your mom, here's another one, unfortunately way too common. Your parents use your social security number when you're a kid to go get a credit card or get a loan. Indication you're already at a disadvantage. You probably shouldn't be having kids. Probably 1, you can't afford it. And 2, whether you realize it or not, there's something that's going to carry over. And yes, and in that case, I'd make the argument you should lead a completely self-serving, hedonistic lifestyle. By I mean self-serving, hedonistic, get the fuck out of poverty and just have some stability and quietness and peace and calm. That hedonism. Because actually, to get a truly hedonistic lifestyle, where you just swinging, and you got a bunch of chicks, and oh, Homer J, teach us how to make love. Why, yes, ladies. Okay, that's hedonism, meaning I think I'm just going to have an adequate retirement. Hedonism meaning I'm going to not borrow money to pay for a car. Hedonism meaning I'm going to retire in my 50s. Wild, crazy hedonism. You're selfish. Quite selfless, actually, lady. I ain't bringing no kids into this world that I can't support under a nuclear family, unlike you. You got it. So again, the environment kind of determines some things for the individual. In general, yes. In general, we should all, probably want to breed and have loving, stable families. But the environment may not allow for it. Then there's risk, of which I don't think Rollo is going to disagree here. Again, we are in unprecedented times. And I don't say that to cliche. We truly are, because I don't think there's been a time in the history of humankind where one group of one sex has been so weaponized and trained and brainwashed to not outright hate, but really not want the other. It takes two to tango. A tango? Yes, tango. Or tangle. I think it takes two to tango. I like that better. It's more attractive and sexy. Argentine tango, not American. There's a difference. Never mind. We've gone over this a million times. Man, the risk of marriage. Again, introducing a third foreign friend. The government. Hey, you need a government license. Fuck off. This is a religious ceremony. It's our culture. Get the fuck out. Nope, you need a license. And now a whole bunch of rules and laws now come crashing down on you. It's like, feminism plus the divorce court plus the government plus regulations plus directly attacking my money. It's not like these laws are like, oh, if you get divorced, the guy gets a brand new teddy bear and the girl gets a brand new other teddy bear. Like, oh, well, okay, it makes you feel better. Okay. Hey, consolation prize. No, it's like, oh, we get half your fucking shit. And it directly threatens your livelihood. It says, we've decided to raise now 2-3 full generations under broken homes where they don't have stability, familial stability, let alone financial stability. And men and women, by the way, claw their way out of poverty, claw their way out of student loan debt to now risk it all. I mean, it's like, hey, you won $500,000. Do you want to guess behind door number 1 or door number 2? It could be $1 million. Happy with stability. Hedonism. I'll be dead. I don't care. What about the children? Fuck the children in the future, I guess, because I ain't got any. So there's also the fact that there's just a huge, I mean, again, in theory, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and for the vast 99.9999999% of human existence, yes. Get married, settle down, have kids, loving family, grandchildren. Oh, grandchildren. How fun is that? I'm never going to see that. Never was big on the kids. I'll be honest. But then the grandkids, you can see it. Maybe because I love my grandparents so much because, oh man, my grandpa, oh boy. Oh God, the status. It's like, he's talking to me. Ice cream and chocolate milk. And those wound up with the propeller balsa planes, balloons. Oh, don't think the guy spent more than $10 and the man was a saint. It's like, oh, I can't wait to hang out with Grandpa. I can see that. And maybe I'd miss that a little bit. Oh, he'd just pick us up and hug us and squeeze us to death and we didn't care. And then this is, again, going back in the days when parents were evil. We didn't have, you didn't have to wear seatbelts. And we'd sit up front with our grandpa. And there was the little bumper seat in between. There's just a big, wide seat. There's an old Plymouth, had a big, wide seat, like a bench seat. And so the passenger would sit there. There was a little bump down. You could actually fit a third person there because the shifter was on the driving column. And then you have the driver. Brother and sister, we slice each other's throats to sit next to our grandpa to get it. And we had to take turns. It was organization. And oh my gosh. So I could see the powerful genetic, you want your legacy. But man, if it comes at the expense of having a ruinous life for both you and your children that you should not be having, the individual has to make a choice not to breed. And then there's also, you could consider this a political environment, but I also would say it's society's mental state. Like right now, it's insane. It is insane. You have 2 generations now fully brought up on that. It's their traits that are the most important thing. I saw this on Mozilla Firefox. It says, celebrate the way you were born, or celebrate you. Not who you are. It was about traits. It was like, your traits are worth celebrating, or there's something to be proud of. They're like saying like, who you are is just something to be proud of. No, it isn't. No, it's not. It's your accomplishments. Fuck the color of your skin, fuck your gender, fuck your made up mental illness that you claim to have while insulting those that genuinely suffer from mental illness, and fuck your made up gender that you just made up last week. Fuck you posers. You guys just don't want to work. Okay. But that's the new industry. That's the new industry, is your traits, not your brain, not the content of character, not your accomplishments, not your achievements or what you do or your profession. It's your traits. And everyone is rushing to be an aggrieved victim and to identify with traits, or identitarian politics, I guess you could say, is a way to do that. I like calling them traits because that's what they are. You were born with them. And it's no longer about whether you're intelligent or smart or honest or intellectually honest or truly brave and courageous to speak the truth. It's not whether you're strong. It's not whether you're excellent. It's not whether you excel in a respective field. It's all your effing traits. And you can see it. You got people who are now like getting it, traits, or beliefs, things that are easy to, I believe in this. Oh, wow, look at me. I'm a Jew. I got all these benefits now because I say I'm this. Look at my tattoo. See, I didn't do anything, expect a couple $100, but now it gives me definition. It's a Chinese proverb saying, spoiled little white girl from the suburb, mean a lot of stuff, or whatever saying it might say. Oh, wow. You got those stupid Frisbees in your ears? Oh, wow. You dyed your hair pink? Anything to avoid a real job or accomplishment, huh? That society's mental state is insane. We haven't spanked kids for about 50 years now. There's no cost or consequences. We constantly enable, we bail people out. You have basically, once the older boomers and silent generation dies off, and some of the older Xers, it's just going to be a country of grown adult children who don't want to work, don't know how to support themselves, and be you a banker or a student, college student, you're going to need a bailout, or a single mom or a single dad, you're going to need a constant bailout. This really is like 435 AD in the Roman Empire. And I got people, Aaron, you should breed. I'm like, no. No. Because I'm not putting my kid through that. I'm not putting my kid through the mental insanity. I'm not going to have my kid brought up every day like, well, what's the color of my skin? And what's this down here? And, well, my teeth. No, kid, you don't got to go through that. No, it ends now. It ends here. It ends now. Right here, right now. It's over. I'm not going to, there's not meritocracy. It's not fair. It's not just. And forget that. The people are fucking psycho. You people are fucking nuts. I'm not having my kid come into your world, go to school with your kids that you're not going to raise. You expect the teacher to raise them? Not going to happen. No. Even if I were to go homeschool my kid, I'm going to die and that kid's going to have to be in, and he's going to come to the same conclusion. Why the fuck was I born? What? Gee whiz, what were they thinking? Nope. Nope. No, and don't worry. There'll be a great collapse. We'll have the Dark Ages again, the medieval era. Humans will have to relearn the hard way. And then from bad times will come strong men, and a fair and just equitable system will be formed. And that will excel. It'll be another great many scientific and medical and other advances, technological advances. And that will create so much opulence and wealth. We'll have a United States version 2.0 or Roman Empire version 3.0. And you'll have an effete, spoiled, limp-wristed Antifa member, soy boy, liberal arts major generation, where instead of like science and medicine and production and this and that, they're going to focus on, they're going to navel gaze. That's all this is. What's the color of my navel? Oh, what's plumbing is beneath my navel. I mean, really, you got to think about how mentally ill a society has to be that you actually have something called women's studies. Like, the institutions give it credibility. You can get an accredited degree in women's studies. And we're so fucked up as a society, we will charge, unfortunately, any women or men that happen to study that thing, $150,000 in tuition. You're studying a gender. And there's also racial studies, and you study. Here's my all-time favorite. You're in an English-speaking country. We're going to study English. Are you fucking nuts? How granular, how absent of true independent intellectual thought and production do you have to be? That's society now. And that we get, I got a doctorate. Oh, doctor. Oh, doctor means nothing unless there's an MD or a dentist type of doctor. Or you're a physicist, I guess, is another one. No. Society is mentally ill. I'm not raising kids in Arkham Asylum. Not going to happen. So that's another reason. Foresight. And then ultimately comes down to the individual's choice. I mean, there's whatever reason. Some people just really don't want to have kids, and they're being honest. They're not lying. They're not being facetious. They're not trying to hide something. They just don't really want to have kids. I know a couple people that never wanted to have kids, and they're perfectly fine with that. It could be for any one of the number of reasons I listed before. But no, I can't afford it. That's the most honorable and noble reason not to have a kid, because you can't afford it. You're actually thinking, and if you really want to increase the population of smart people, when someone says, I can't afford it, go, give them the money. I'm an engineer. I don't really have time. I can't afford it. Give him the money. Go, hey, yeah, we want you to breed. You, Miss Lady, with 5 different children from 6 different fathers. Trust me, the math works out. Oh, how much money can we give you to have 7 and 8? No. So for whatever, there's good individual reasons. So I guess the way to summarize it is in a long-term history of humanity sort of way, yes, absolutely. That's the only thing you're really going to be doing here is passing on your genetics. I would add an asterisk, any kind of wisdom and advice that you can handle on in the form of, I don't know, some amazing books that might help people, What we got here, oh, look at this. Here's an advice book. Is this advice? Oh, this is another advice book. This will help you. Look at that book. That'll save you time. I wonder, hang on. I got a question. Do you think this book, How Not to Pick Worthless Degrees, you think that would have been of any help? Anyway, I'd like to think that there's more than just your genetics you're leaving to society. I like to think that, helping society, creating, look, Thomas Edison did more for all of us than any of us are going to do for ourselves. You may not like him, but Bill Gates certainly did more to increase GDP than anyone I could think of as of recent times. So I think that legacy is more. Name Bill Gates's kid. Does anyone know the kid's name? It doesn't matter. The kid ain't going to come anywhere near his dad. So it's not necessary that you have kids. And for certain individuals, and especially under certain sociological, political, economic circumstances, whether that's national or your individual family, there's some damn good reasons not to breed. Now, if you watch that little excerpt of Rollo, what I think, and I don't think Rollo would disagree on these exceptions or these caveats, but he was very critical in criticizing of people who were almost bragging that they weren't having sex or bragging that they're not going to have kids. And I think what his criticism is how they're kind of like the virgin towels. They're using it as an excuse because they don't want to try, and never a credit to what evil that could be accredited to laziness. I think that's what it is. A lot of these people, he was talking about these people like, I'm 30 years old and sex is beyond me and I'm still a virgin. No. You're a virgin towel. Okay. And virgin towels, to quickly summarize, are guys who are too cowardly to approach women, too cowardly to hit the gym, and without asking a girl out, without trying to get laid, without going forth and getting shot down. And that's what every guy is expecting. That's what galvanizes you. That's the baptism by fire that turns the iron into steel, the coal into a diamond. Without going through that, they want to be claimed, oh, I'm the diamond, or I'm the forged steel, because I'm an academic and I don't need to go waste my time. Now, there's some very compelling arguments not to waste your time at a nightclub. I got that. But you should hit the gym. If there's a cute girl you really like, and she seems like, you should probably ask her out. and instead of admitting they're just cowards and lazy and they don't want to go and risk their feelings of getting shot down by a girl, they don't want to go to the gym, they don't want to work hard at becoming a man, they immediately dismiss it and afford themselves a very easy life of like, nope, it's beneath me. I'm a 30-year-old virgin. No, because you could always go get yourself a prostitute if you wanted the sex, and you could. And every guy does want sex, more or less. It's the ulterior motive. It's not the motive that they're saying, well, it's beneath me and I'm an intellectual. No, it's because you're a lazy bum and you don't want to try. Risks considered. Risks totally understood and considered. But then there's other good, compelling reasons for you to lift weights and be masculine and to be excellent in other regards. Not just sitting there jerking off the porn all day, playing your video games, never going outside. For any other reason, your own damn health. And I think that's what Rollo was really criticizing, was the hypocrisy, the double-facedness of, this is beneath me, I'm celibate because da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no. Every once in a while, yeah, you might find some Zen master up in the Tibetan mountains like, no, I don't do sex. I've had sex, but I don't want to know. Okay, I get it. A lot of guys they retire now 30 after 30. Like, no, I don't need to do 31. It's But I think that's where Rollo was criticizing these people, where they were afraid to, I don't want to say marry or even court, but to get involved with women. And they used this faux intellectualism to excuse their cowardice. I think that's because you have every biological program screaming at you. Now, I don't know about you. I just want to have sex. I don't want to have kids. So there's like a pretty clear, you could pivot on it. You're like, well, I'd like to get laid, but I don't want to have no kids. And there's ways you can do it with vasectomies and things like that. These people can't get laid. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they can't. And to spare their ego and feeling, they say, well, I don't want to. Anyway. That's beneath me. And I think that was his main criticism. I guarantee you Rollo's not even going to disagree because, yeah, there are instances and good, compelling reasons not to have kids. But, and I don't even have any criticisms against what he's saying because it's true. I may be providing the caveat or the huge, except like, well, there are conditions under which the individuals or many individuals may not want to breed. And that is true. So there we go. All right. Any super chats in the room? Whoa. Nonstop Dre for $5. I think having kids is one of the selfish things a person can do because that's creating a liability that other people will be forced to deal with. If you're willing to take care of that kid and raise it properly, there's nothing selfish about it, because if you're a good parent, it's actual selflessness. That's true sacrifice. But if you look here, another red flag. I can't wait to drop my kid off to daycare so I can get back to work. Don't have kids. Get your tubes tied, get your vasectomy. Okay? It's not one of the most selfish things you can do. It can be one of the most selfish things you can do if you're not going to raise the kid. And yes, it's a liability other people have to deal with, namely the mother and the father. Presumably you'd love your children and they'd love you in the end. But again, with the state and feminism throwing a wrench into these traditional plans, now people just have kids because it's a biological itch. Yeah. By the way, another red flag, when a woman freezes her eggs, it's kind of a red flag. It's kind of a red flag. Nonstop trade for $2. They say, and studies suggest, fathers aren't needed. Oh, well, they say. And there was a study by sociologists, of which the field now of the liberal arts and the social sciences in general, the psychology, I think it was 2/3 of their studies can't be repeated. So throw psychology out. But I think the social sciences is even worse. I think it's like 90%. They say 90%. No, there was a study that showed we could play this game, social scientists. But there's a credibility crisis within the social sciences. And so whatever study, if you see anything by a study, it's bullshit. Unless it's like hardcore STEM and math is involved and it has to prove it, not some, all of the social sciences and the liberal arts, all your studies from basically 1960 on can be thrown out the window. It was all a waste of time, not only of taxpayer money funding these bogus researches and studies, but all of you in your careers and professions, waste of time. You did not contribute. If anything, you lied to people and ruined millions, hundreds of millions of people's lives. But don't let me bother you. Osama Abdul for $5. Any thoughts on what the man versus woman should pay in a relationship when the girl lives in the man's house? Not marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend situation. All right. She pays half the mortgage. Right? That basically, and get a lease. Any thoughts? Yeah, 50-50. You want to live here? How many people are in the house? 2, 50-50. 3, 33, 33, 33, a third. And Osama, I don't know if you're immigrant or first generation American, but here women want to be treated equal. And by God, you treat them as equal. I don't care if they're a conservative libertarian girl. Equal. I got to pay extra taxes to pay for a welfare state. You want to, no, you don't rent here for free. You're paying, women are equal. They have to, guys, you have to treat them equally. You have to. That's the only, because otherwise the government just bails them out. Oh, here's some affirmative action. We'll create entire industries to employ you with your worthless liberal arts degree. It's up to you, man. No, I got to pay extra tax. I got to half my money goes to taxes to pay for your job and your kid's daycare and your kid's education. Yeah, you're paying half of the dates, half of the rent. You're going to pay half the gas. Marriage or not, even if you were married, no, you're paying half. We are one now, sweetheart. Miguel Angel Casillas. I really need me a debt-laden girl boss with $100,000 in debt to co-parent with. And the older she is and committed to her corporate/slave job, the better for the kids. Yes. It's also good for her other children from the other guys to have a good male role model, Miguel, just like you. See, because they don't need their father. They just need the magical male role model. Like an uncle or a cousin or an older brother. They don't need their biological dad. They just need a generalist male role model. Oh. Troy Rides channel for $5. In 2014, I watched your video called The No Child Manifesto. That began my journey into Red Pill. Awesome. Good. I'm glad that was your entry into the world. Thanks for opening up my eyes to societal truth. Yeah, no problem, Troy. I'm glad. I hope you're doing well. I hope no debt, no illegitimate kids. Nonstop Dre. By the way, if you didn't know, Nonstop Dre is a 7-foot, completely ripped black dude who's jacked with an enormous penis, and he slays the pussy. If you did not know. They say men need to man up and risk it all anyway. Yes, the Christian they, the church they, the sociologist they, the media they. I'm not joking. 1.5 million. Every guy should do this. Every guy should put a price on their sperm. I've said this before. All men, all of you should go get a vasectomy. All right. Make a donation at the sperm bank, but all men should go get a vasectomy. And then if a woman wants your seed, interesting. You want something I have and you cannot take from me without my express permission, because consent is everything, right? Okay. How much would you like to give me for my sperm? And my price is 1.5 million after tax, because you ladies just love to keep jacking up the taxes. You don't need no man. Why can't you find a man? Hey, his sperm over there. High IQ sperm with ballroom dancing tendencies. Right over there. Good with finances. For 1.5 million. And then you don't have to have any of that nasty, gross, icky sex. Ooh, gross. Ooh, what's that? You could raise your kid in the test tube. And then I don't care what you do, because I got your 1.5 million and I'm out of there. How'd he make his billions? Was it writing books? No. Was it his great podcast? No. Was it his consultations? No. What was it? He donated sperm to rich broads that wanted a high IQ ballroom dancing child. Fred Larson for $10. Rollo seems focused on evolutionary biology. Well, yeah, that's a reality. That's like he's kind of focused on physics, math, reality. A lot of what he says is on, but does he generalize too much? Contrast what he says with what Roosh says now after Roosh has denounced his former life. I don't know. He mentioned Roosh a little bit there, but I haven't followed up on Roosh in a while, which is sad because I like the old Roosh. And if Roosh wants to go and be religious and take the God pill, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Roosh wants to have family, so it's in line with what Rollo said, that men want to have a family. Although I happen to agree with Rollo, although this isn't necessarily Roosh's fault. Like, where are you going to find your virgin, nice traditional woman who doesn't have $100,000 of debt? But I don't think Rollo generalizes too much. If anything, Rollo's very specific. I don't know. Send me another video of his where he generalizes. And here's the other thing. If we're talking about 7 billion people on the planet, you got to generalize. Tom Likas always said that one. He's like, not all, most. Ernie von Schledorn, mainstream nominee falls. Scrolling down, scrolling. Holy cow. All right, we're putting you in timeout. There we go. Guys, make one big post if you want to make it. Don't hit every, because then it bumps down the super chats. And then I got to go hunt them back down again. Osama Abdul, I was born in the U.S. Parents are from Eritrea. Okay, yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of holdover, but you're born in the U.S., so you know most of American culture. And ever since you were here, unless you're older than me, but even then, I'm sure you got it shoved up your ass that women are equal, right? Osama, did you know women are equal? Did you know that? Don't know if you got the memo or not. Oh, John Miller, $50. Thanks, John. Ladies, men are not coming to save you. That video you made is the truth. I don't see how women could ask that of men and then do a complete 180. Well, let's be intellectually honest. In fairness, it was a nice woman who sent that. She was traditional. She was part of the Matrix. Her husband kind of got her out of it. And she was like, oh my gosh, what am I missing out on life? And she had kids and she loves her traditional nuclear family. She loves being the stay-at-home wife. And her intentions were well. She's like, you got to go. These women don't know. They're plugged in. And I presume her assumption is that all women just want to be a stay-at-home wife with kids. But because of the indoctrination they get from when they're very young, they don't know that. And then she requested that it's incumbent upon us to go and say, and I'm like, well, no. So you say, I don't see how women could ask that of men and then do a complete 180. She did the 180 before. And let's give her some understanding. She's not been a guy. She doesn't know what it's like to be a guy. I mean, maybe she had conversations with her husband, but she's never dated women. She's never gone out, never been stood up, never gotten the, if you can't handle me my worst, you can't handle me at my best, blah, 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 on the dating profiles. And now I didn't have that. It was just, you had to find that out clandestinely. You actually had to go on a date with the girl. You didn't have their profile on the internet. So there was no internet. Hey, you're cute. You want to go out? Maybe. Here's my number. When you call it, it won't work. You learned it piecemeal by that. Osama for $2 again. Your thoughts on Thomas Saul? Great economist, at which there is no such thing as great economists. There are only great philosophers that speak the truth when it comes to finances. And those are rare economists. But Thomas Saul, enjoy him while he's alive. He's old school too. He's I love the interviews and say he's got this big ass fro. Gunac 157. Favorite song, musician, The Doors rock, laugh out loud, just kidding. Favorite song, my favorite song. I really like Leapfrog by Les Brown and his band Renown. It's a corny, stupid song, but I love it. Probably like some serious jazz a little bit more. I also like probably my favorite musician, even though he's a singer, would probably be Harry Connick. He can put together a mean band and he puts together some great music. So I'd probably say Harry Connick. Not necessarily my favorite music, but like, man, that guy can nail it. Eleanor Rigby. Again, Atham is not paying attention to the door. He's letting all the women in right now. Miss Rigby for $5. If the female bald eagle doesn't pair with the male eagle who will hunt while she sits on her eggs, both she and the progeny will die. Well, but the eagles should get together and vote for a state, a welfare state by which all the killing of all male bald eagles goes into a big pile of carrion, dead meat. And then the bald eagle women, lady bald eagles, they can go and fly with their little chicks and eat off the pile. And then the bald eagle guys would just sit back and relax and not worry about whose egg is what, chickling or whatever like that. I know that. We know. I'm going to have to pull up the archive because I think we skipped some super chats here. A nonstop Dre for $2. I think you missed some super chat. The chat reset. Yeah, we'll get back. Why don't you all take a break? Come back in a minute or two. I'm going to hit the can and I'll pull up the old super chat archive. We'll make sure we don't miss any of those. Sorry, missed out on that. I dropped out. Let me try this instead. See, now, if YouTube really wanted to help, it would solve that problem instead of, we here at YouTube understand these are difficult times. That's why we want to let you know that we're here. Why is this not letting me? Oh, I got to log into the different, because I'm on Streamlabs and not the YouTubes. All right, hang on. Just give me a second, guys. Just give me a second. All right. Here we are. We got nonstop Dre scrolling down. Let me get to fathers aren't needed. Girl boss. 2014. They say, man, risk it all anyway. Evolutionary Eritrea. John Miller. Thomas Sowell. Famous song. Oh, I gotta scroll down even more. Huh. I'm not seeing it. I think we got them all, didn't we? Missed the super chats. Female bald eagle. Favorite song. Thomas Sowell. Ladies, men are not coming to save you. Born in Eritrea. Evolutionary. Watch a video. No Child Manifesto. Letting girl boss the man for a woman. Study suggests having kids one selfish thing. Oh, here's one. Okay, I did miss one. Nonstop Dre for $5. Why do you think older guys try to encourage young guys in my age range to have families, knowing the current state of society? Is it just ego? I do not believe it is, and I can't pull it up, by the way. I don't think it's ego. I think as per Rollo's conversation, that's just what they're like. Come on, go do. Like, you try and set your buddy up like, hey, you two guys should get together because you want him to be happy. And not this part forward of the brain, this part in the back of the brain, which is the idiot lizard part of the brain. They see it like, hey, logically deduce, you guys should get together. That's the past 2 million years of human evolution speaking. It's not the 50 years that it should be critically painful in your frontal cortex that you've experienced. So I think it's not ego. It's not malicious. I think they just want you to be happy, but they're also ignorant. They think everyone should get married, and they're trying to do what's best for you, but they're very ignorant, is what I'm saying. So there's no maliciousness. Fred Larson. Oops. Missed that. Hang on. There we go. Got that one. Fred Larson for $20. Thanks, Fred. Cappy, I used my math to calculate 1.2 of American women are marriage material and 2 out of 250 on my Facebook. Your 1% seems right. My parents and family do not believe me. How can I convince them? You can't. Your parents? How old are your parents? Your parents are old. They're not going to be convinced. And here's the other thing about the human. People want to believe what they want to believe, not because there's empiricism or data. This is why and even this doesn't guarantee you're going to be rich. The reason most people who are rich is because they woke the fuck up, critically looked at something, accepted harsh truth, and said, oh, I got to become an engineer because that's what people pay for. Or, oh, I got to become a doctor. Or, oh, this is what people want. And then and to make this company work, I'm going to have to sacrifice and work my ass off. That's how rare it is because rich people are rare, except when you take out the people that inherit it. So take those. I'm talking the self-made millionaire. That's a very rare story. Well, they did some critical thinking. Most people just want to eat their cake and eat their ice cream and think they're beautiful and live in La La Land. It's the reason Operation Evil, because I am done swimming upstream. I want to coast, motherfuckers. I want to coast for 20 fucking years and then die with a shit ton of other people's money that they gave me because I said, yep, whatever you want to hear, give me your money. Your parents don't want to. Here's the irony. They probably know it. Deep down inside, they probably know it. Elkin's mom, God bless her, wonderful woman. She literally went up to her son. Now, keep in mind, this woman stays in wonderful shape for her age, for her husband. She's a wonderful woman, very pretty woman for her age. She knows. What did she tell her son, her beloved son? When Chad says, yeah, but they're all overweight. She says, but Chad, it's so hard for women to keep their weight off. Whose side you on? Your own children or your fat? What? They know. Women know men don't want fat chicks. They know, but they don't want to believe it. And so they're going to fight and put themselves in this purgatory of self-contradicting cognitive dissonance hell, believing and then lecturing you otherwise. And it's the same thing with your folks. Your parents know. They know. Maybe they don't know the numbers are that bad. They didn't do the actuarial analysis. But yes, we're talking low single digits % of women are marriage material. Your methodology as you went on Facebook, and we could criticize selection bias and all that other stuff. I understand. But these very rough back of napkin calculations, yeah, it's around 1 to 2%. My experience shows it's less than 1. And, my parents and family don't believe me. They probably do deep down inside believe you. How do you convince them? Why do you want to? Why? Is it going to change your life? Is it? Is it going to make any change to your life if you get your family to believe you? Just let it go, man. You got this little energy, guys. You got this little energy. Do you want to waste it arguing with people that can't be convinced? Enjoy. Just go have. If they ask, why aren't you married yet? Say, haven't spent the time, been too busy. I'm too busy. Got too much work going on. I'll get the right, Mom, you're right. The right girl will come along someday. She'll come along someday, Mom. I just really got to focus on myself. I'm not at that place right now to find a girl. I would not be doing her a service. Okay, you And then, it's like my dad. My dad desperately wished I believed in Christ. It'd make him nothing more than, I had an epiphany, and the speaking fiery bush spoke to me. And it wasn't because I was doing mushrooms. I saw God, and everything. It would make him happier than poop. But he knows. He knows. Scrolling down. Fred Larson for another $10. Which year did America peak in your opinion when it comes to nuclear family and economy? 1957, my estimate. My parents were well-off programmers. My math was just to exclude leftist fatties and debt. Wow. That's a very limited range. You're down to 2.5%. Holy cow. Throwing other men's children in there. See how far can we shave that down? I'd have to go and look at some economic data. Somewhere maybe in the 50s, arguably the 60s. Certainly before 1964. Economic, like the unemployment rate was below 4% in 1969. It was like one of the lowest unemployment rates. And then it happened again in the 50s. But I'd say culturally, economically, financially, based on how everyone's standards of living was increasing, I guess that'd be a way to, it's somewhere in the 50s. I don't know if it's 1957. But it's in the 50s somewhere. The percent of children born out of wedlock for all races was very low. Nuclear families, a present father and mother, very high. Everyone thinks the 50s were magical. Like, we lived only on one income. You could do that in the 50s. I think, their houses were like literally a third the square footage of modern houses today. And they didn't have 3 SUVs. And mom didn't walk in with $200,000 in debt for a master's in HR degree, waiting for the parents to bail her out or the husband to bail her out. It was, you did without. There was a car. The husband oftentimes would take the bus to work, and the wife would take the car to get groceries. It was not anywhere near as opulent and materialistic as it was, but they had the family. They had love. But we don't need no man-fish bicycle. We have government check. Government check. So that's where I'd say it peak. All right, is that it for the Super Chats? That's it for the Super Chats. All right, thank you very much for all the kind donations of generosity. Check out Rollo's book, The Rational Male. That is one of the mandatory books that every man and woman, if you want to read. Aaron, what are you trying to sell? Sell truth to men. Some men, not all. Sell lies to women, okay? Get The Rational Male. Check out Rollo Tomassi. You can find him on YouTube and his book. Then also, what else? Oh, that's what I was going to say. There's The Rational Male, The Way of Men, and not to toot my own horn, but Bachelor Pad Economics. Those are the and Pushing Rubber Downhill. Those are the 4 books that should be in the Bible of all your masculine reading. But Rollo's would be the first because it is that good. And he had like 1,700 reviews on his book. I was like, oh man, he killed it. And he's right there. He's got several books out. That's just his flagship product. In the meantime, remember that June was Worthless Degree Awareness Month. It's now July. And July is Don't Become a Millennial Month. Get this book, How Not to Become a Millennial. Very important. Lots of wisdom. Aaron, isn't it the same thing you wrote in Bachelor Pad Economics? No. This is the most avant-garde, advanced vanguard, cutting-edge political philosophy book out there. Because the millennials were such a sociological disaster and phenomenon. We can learn everything from them on what not to do. Basically, that book is Monkey See, Monkey Don't Do. The secret to future spectacular economic growth is in that book if you just do the opposite of what the millennials did. So that's it. All right. Thanks for everything. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Toodles.